Hey guys, welcome to Bastion Time. I am your host Bastion. This is Nintendo News. Let's get to that news. First of all, you're surely aware that a Fire Emblem game has been released for iOS and I think Android as well. I'm not sure if Nintendo's doing that thing where they're delaying it for Android or not. Anyways, the point is, it's at least available for iOS and it's smashing all kinds of records and whatnot. It's been downloaded. I don't know, I haven't been paying attention to the statistics, but it's doing very well, let's just say. So well, in fact, that tons of, let's just be real here, crappy iOS games that already exist have suddenly changed their name to include Fire Emblem, as a way of tricking people, I guess, into downloading their crappy game. Which, I mean, of course, eventually those will all get stricken down because Fire Emblem's a trademarked thing, so I don't know what their first... I mean, let's be real here, we do know what their goal is, which is just to rake in all that money ASAP from people who don't know what they're downloading. So be careful. If you look up Fire Emblem in the App Store, don't just download the first thing that pops up. Make sure it's the actual legit game from Nintendo first. Our next story comes from Mr. AONUMA, and it's really not that big of a deal what he said. It's something we already knew, which is just that Nintendo's current philosophy is, yeah, just because Switch is a home console that you can take with you does not mean it's competing with the 3DS. The 3DS is still its own thing. They're still developing games for the 3DS. There's still multiple major franchise titles that have not yet been announced, that will be announced probably at E3 or something, for the 3DS. So don't worry if you have a 3DS and you're a 3DS fan and you're worried that the Switch is somehow gonna take away from that. It's not. So that's all something we already have heard before from not from Mr. AONUMA, but from Mr. Miyamoto and Reggie and all kinds of people. The interesting thing, though, about this is the fact that it's Mr. AONUMA saying it, which means to me, and I might just be extrapolating too much from this, but if he's saying it, that likely means that there is definitely a Zelda game in development for the 3DS, and this, again, actually wouldn't be that big of a surprise, because I promise you, as soon as we know that every single time they stop development on one game, they move on to the next, and that they have two teams. They have the handheld team and the major console team, so they're always working simultaneously. One doesn't take away from the other at all. So as soon as they finished Triforce Heroes, then suddenly they're of course beginning development on the next Zelda handheld game, and since there isn't a successor to the 3DS just yet, although there may be, but we'll get to that in a different story, it's likely that it's going to be a Zelda game for the 3DS. Now, is this going to be just another remake of what? They've ran out of remakes at this point, so I don't think it's another remake. It's probably a brand new Zelda title, and we'll probably learn about it at this year's E3. That's my guess. But I think all evidence is pointing that way, unless, of course, there really is a successor to the 3DS coming out, even though they assure us no, not for a while yet. We'll have to wait and see about that, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be another 3DS game. And now, the next story is about exactly that, which is that the president of Nintendo has suddenly changed his tune. This whole while they've been saying, the 3DS is still going strong, we're still developing it, and yes, they have reiterated there are many titles coming out that are in development right now that they have not yet announced that are sequels to major franchises, so likely another Zelda game, likely another Mario game of some kind, so that's all well and good, but now Mr. Kimishima is saying, oh, but yeah, we are starting to think about the successor to the 3DS, so that's interesting because I could have sworn they said that after the 3DS was done, they were just focusing on the Switch since it could be both a home console and a mobile console, but apparently not. No, apparently they are thinking about what the successor to the 3DS is going to be. Maybe we'll find out about that at E3, maybe not. We'll just have to wait and see. But he's thinking about it, so that means something. But anyways, that's it for this episode of Nintendo News. See you guys in maybe tomorrow or the next day for more news. See you then. Bye, guys.